he wants to stay engaged in the city. That's all I can see.
But where would he go in the city? I mean, he's been the mayor, so I don't think he want to be the mayor again. The governor, I don't, unless he wants a Senate seat somewhere.
There's been talk about a Senate seat. There has been a lot of talk about that, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know the game that people play, but there's been a lot being written about this in some of the local newspapers. So Clifton Brathwaite, we all know him.
Yeah.
What did you think his chances were when he announced? What do you think his chances are now after all the campaigning, after all of the places that he has gone to for support? Do you think that he could land the fourth seat on the Boston City Council?
To be honest with you, I don't see that happening. But you know, all the votes ain't in, and miracles, you know, we can't really you can't really push anybody out. But I don't think Cliff is going to make it in the top four. I really, honestly, I don't believe it. I don't
Is
think he is. But I mean, hey, I've been
is
wrong before, so
is this his first time running for public
yeah,
office?
yeah. He's worked on a lot of campaigns with different people, like
Right.
Steve Tompkins. He's worked on his campaign. Who else is he worked on? That guy that ran for the clerk of the works, Kirby, I can't remember his last name.
So in essence, he's worked on a lot of campaigns,
He's
but
worked on,
never
yeah.
has run for himself. Did you see him at any of the debates? I know he was at one of your debates, Minister
Mhm.
Priscilla.
Yeah, he was at the couple debates that I saw. He was there.
So how did he hold it? Did he hold it down?
I mean, he expressed his love for the community and his love for the job, the work. He said, this will not be a job for me if I'm voted in, because I love my family, I love my community, and I've been here doing this work for a long time. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, we definitely need some different ideas coming to the council, because it's been very difficult to maneuver and work, because it just seems like people, to me, I get the fact that a lot of them people are down there for themselves, to make a name for themselves, and to go further. Now, I believe there's also some people down there that really do care and really do want to do the work. But
Well, there were people making predictions. So I'm looking at the unofficial numbers right now, city council at large, and 43 out of 275 precincts have reported in. 15%, still small number, but Aaron Murphy is stepping out at 23% of the vote. Ruthie has 17% of the vote. Bridget Nee Walsh has 16, and Julia is 15. So Bridget and Julia, with only 43% of the precincts reporting in, or districts reporting in, or votes coming in, it seems that Bridget and Julia are going head to head on this 1, 2, 3, third position. Henry Santana could come in number 4 based on where we're going right now. What do you think about that after what we just said?
it's possible he could.
So uh right now, Sean Nelson taking up the rear, Catherine Vitale and Clifton Brathwaite is or has 3% of the vote. So what does it take? What does it really take to get yourself out there so that people can see you and hear you? Because every time I looked around, I saw Clifton Brathwaite at these forums, and he was talking, and he was um he was everywhere. So why would he be coming in again? We don't have a large percentage of the votes, but why would he be coming in last?
Well, from what I could see, I know he didn't have a lot of money in his campaign account.
Okay.
And see, when you run for office, you got to be able to have a campaign manager, a field, someone in the field, especially at large,
Yeah.
someone in the field. You got to make sure that you have volunteers that can help you. You got to have that van. There's a lot that goes with running, especially for at large. If it was district,
At
but
large
at
is
large
huge.
is, huh?
At large is huge. It's a
It
huge
is.
undertaking. When you
It is.
don't have money
Yeah.
and you don't have the people to assist you with the door knocking, it is daunting. And when I looked at Pastor Hobbs's district, I'm not saying that Pastor Hobbs was running for office when I say Pastor Hobbs's district, where he lives. Again, only 7 precincts of 34 reporting. John Fitzgerald has 71.53% of the vote, and Joel Richards has 13%. Pastor Hobbs, were there any forums that you attended when John and Joel were both in the same room together? Did you hear them talk?
Actually, yes and no. So they both came with me behind the wall. So they both went with us
Okay. Yeah.
at the Suffolk County House of Correction, and were engaging returning citizens. However, their conversation was directly with the returning citizens. It wasn't on a panel that was organized. So there were not just them, there were the other candidates. So I didn't get an opportunity to be able to hear them directly engage in an organized kind of a debate or forum, but I got to engage both of them, and I appreciate that both of them took the time to come behind the wall and engage directly the returning citizens, both, and that was in the primary. And so I've heard some feedback from some of the returning citizens when we came back for the actual general election. In fact, one of the gentlemen was upset that he didn't seize the opportunity to register, because we came back and it was time to get the last opportunity for absentee ballots, but you had to have registered. And he was upset because he actually recognized that Joel Richards was his former teacher and he would have voted for him, but he missed the opportunity at this particular election opportunity. So yeah, I mean,
does it really matter to you which one wins?
Absolutely not. I mean, well, when you say to me, yes, it matters to me as a person who lives in District 3. As you said, it's my district that I happen to live in. However, obviously, when I'm going behind the wall, we have to do a nonpartisan approach. So we're bringing in all the candidates. We in District 3, we particularly because that's also where the Suffolk County House of Correction sits. So it's not just my district where I live, but it's where Mass and Cass. It's where the House of Correction also sits in District 3. So yes, it's important to me, but I have to remain neutral.
Right. So whomever wins, you're going to be the path to their door to say, I want to work with you.
Absolutely.
Right, right. So when we look at district number 7, there is only 5 precincts of 30. Only 16% have reported in, so we can't gauge anything on that. But just looking at it right now, Tanya Fernandez Anderson has 815 votes, and Althea Garrison has 366. And that's only 5 out of 30 precincts. I can't wait until we get 15 out of 30 precincts. They might end up having a neck-to-neck battle going on here, and because you can't count out Althea Garrison. You
Not
can't.
at all.
That's what I said. You can't sleep on them because She's been doing this for a long time.
Well,
Unfortunately, I just feel like that some of, our elected officials and stuff, like since COVID, it just seems like some of them don't feel like they have to show up,
yeah.
and they don't. And so that to me is a problem because you don't, even when you're out there, just like it's like people say, "Oh, I want you to come knock on my door." A lot of times, these people ain't answering their doors, and then you have these big apartment buildings where people live, but you can't get into the apartment buildings unless you know somebody.
Right.
So you have a whole lot of people that live in apartment buildings and stuff, and that you can't even really get to them, you know. And so we have to come up with a way that we could get our people. I don't know what it's gonna take for them to realize that their vote counts, and we need everybody to go to the polls. I just sometimes I just feel like I'm just fighting a losing battle.
The big question is, remember when we had the Black Political Task Force, there would be a lot, they had meetings, they interviewed different candidates, they endorsed candidates, they gave them support at the polls. There was just a lot of momentum and people knew about the Black Political Task Force. Do we have anything like that today? Does that
We're
exist?
trying to do that with the block, but it's hard because we don't have a lot of folks. But we are now starting to get some people that really want to support and help do the work. Thing about it with the, you people think, people sit on boards and stuff and think that's all you're supposed to do. When you're on a board, you work.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's, the block, we're a year old now, Actually, we turned a year old in October.
Here's the other thing. Where are the major blocks of people that historically we would go to try to get them involved?
They're gone.
Right. So what I struggle with, Pastor Hobbs and Priscilla, is, and I've said this before, when Dan Janey and I used to prepare an outline for the election. These are the people that are running for city council, for mayor. These are the people who are running for the state government, and we used to pass it out, and people would come and talk to us about it.
Mm-hmm.
That Sunday, that a member of the church came to me and said, "I don't live in Boston. 3/4 of the people in the church don't live in Boston. We're out in Stoughton. We're out in Randolph. We're out in Brockton. We're out in that neck of the woods." If they lived in Boston and were politically active, when they go to these new cities and towns, not all of them are as active out there as they were in the city of Boston. So trying to pull people from the churches to help you to be involved, they are saying
they don't live here, so they don't really have no connection. But some people still do have a connection. Some people still have houses in Boston. Some people still have family in Boston. It's just that some of them have been gentrified out of here, and so they really didn't have a choice to leave.
So don't you think that it's important for us as leaders or pastors or whatever? Don't you think it's important for us to talk to the people who are no longer living in the city, but coming to our forums or our churches or whatever? Don't you think it's important that we now try to engage them to be engaged wherever they're located?
Yeah, that's what I said, because the fact that a lot of them have been gentrified out. But if they were active here, then they should get active in where they're moving to.
It's harder though if a majority of the people still living in those communities are still white or other racial groups. And again, I can't go any further with this about where are the strongholds of Black people on the South Shore. I don't know where that's at, but Pastor Hobbs, can you imagine us trying to figure out who the candidates are in Stoughton and Brockton and all of those places, and then try to prepare a flyer or a diagram or a brochure and pass it out? And that level of work is going to be too overwhelming and daunting. So I don't know what needs to be done. Maybe some of the pastors in Boston need to meet with the pastors who are on the South Shore and say, how are we going to be able to do this? Because we need the people mobilized, not just for the local elections. We need people mobilized for the national election, right?
Absolutely.
If they're not involved in the local election, they're not. Where's the strategy for the national election? And we have one coming up in 2024. So that's my
A lot of
soapbox.
people think that, the only election they need to vote in is the president. They don't understand the importance of local politics. And that's what is something that needs to be taught to them.
Right. So I'm going to walk down this road, and then I want to go to talk about Ed Flynn, but I won't mention the name of the group. You and I talked on the phone today, Minister Priscilla, and we were talking about where you were and what you were doing. Does that organization, without naming it, does that organization have a mobilization strategy that for Black Boston?
The only one that I see that's really been trying to push the vote is Mass Vote and Mass Voter Table. Those are the only two organizations that are trying to get the vote out. But even it just seems like there's just so much. I mean, when you look at Mass Vote is a statewide agency. Yeah. So they have to be everywhere. They can't just be in Boston, concentrated in Boston. They have to go out to like Chelsea and Everett and Worcester and Springfield and all these other places because they have to engage with with everybody in Massachusetts. That is a lot to me to have to undertake. And then
it is a lot. And what Pastor Hobbs is doing, that's in my opinion, I don't want this to sound demeaning. I want you to hear my intent. What Pastor Hobbs is doing is like the sleeping giant. It's a giant, but he's waking for the past how many years, Pastor Hobbs? You've been trying to wake up the sleeping giant. That to me doesn't deal with whether you live in Boston or Brockton or Chelsea. I want to mobilize you to be politically engaged while you're here and tell you why, so that when you leave here, you still stay politically engaged. And the fact that Pastor Hobbs is now getting some of the elected officials to come in and be a part of that, that's a sleeping giant. And that's a strategy that Black folk, to the best of my knowledge in Boston, never tried before. Because if you want to find Black people, there are a whole lot of us locked up. Why not utilize that as a forum to engage people? Do you agree with that? Is that?
I think that's what they were trying to do. Pastor Hobbs, didn't you work with the AACC, that group and they work with Nika and put out that report and stuff? Because I heard that Russell Holmes goes up to the prison like every week or every other week or something. He does some type of financial literacy with them. In the state people, they can go up there anytime they want to. So they're definitely mobilizing behind the walls. That's definitely going on, because you can tell because of these laws that are being changed. And the matter of fact is that a lot of these laws are being changed based on what these prisoners are saying and putting into place.
Well,
so they're reaching out to their families saying, listen, you vote for this person, you reach out to this person, because they know.
Well, Pastor Hobbs, how long have you been doing what you're doing inside politically?
It's been 30 years.
30, but it seems to me, right?
Yeah, it's been over 2 decades, clearly.
Yeah, but it seems like the 2 decades are all kicking in the gear right now.
Yeah,
like never before. Like, right? It's like
It
you've got
is.
you got a script that you're following, and people now know that you're doing this.
Well, I mean, I think it's starting to. What first of all, because on the heels of George Floyd and Black Lives Matter, there's been a lot of focus on reentry or returning citizens, right?
Okay.
There's different seasons that there's this kind of color of money, whether it's and now it's equity, right? That's the buzzword is equity. But it came from Black Lives Matters because of so many of George Floyd and so many other names that happened that were, so that's given a focus now to re-entry where we've been doing it before that actually happened. And now because that's happened, now there's been some attention to what we've already been doing that really wasn't getting attention. And the Votes Act that has been passed that's specifically about this population, the Office of Returning Citizens, right? That's a new office that happened. The mayor, and again, some of it is political, unfortunately, but we've got to seize that opportunity to really be able to have the folks who are behind the wall, who are already engaged, to now be more engaged, because again, this piece of legislation, we're the second state in the country to have felony reenfranchisement move this far, and with the governance council and that appoints judges and commutations, and these are other things that resonate with people who are behind the wall to be able to be more civically engaged. So I feel like there's a momentum that we've been doing what we've been doing and been focused on that just because it was the right thing to do, and now there's a momentum that's happening that's catching that's peaked now all of a sudden concern about this population that people were not concerned about this population because there's resources.
Yeah.
Well,
Now
right.
everybody's working with returning citizens.
Well, again, there will be the authentic people doing it, and then there will be people doing it for ulterior motives. And Pastor Hobbs is not going to get corrupted in doing the work that he's doing. One, because I know he has a relationship with the Lord, and the Lord knows how to speak to him. Number one. Number two, he's got Priscilla and Bruce Wall on his back, right? You hit him with the left, Priscilla, I'll hit him with the right. And something, I'm looking at the city council district number 2, and that's South Boston, and that's Ed Flynn's district. And I noticed that Ed Flynn doesn't have anybody running against him. Right now he has 15 precincts of 31, 48%. He has 3,600. You got to count the votes here. This is important because sometimes we look at this and we say for the entire election, only 500 or 600 votes were cast. It's got 3,679 votes and nobody challenged him. What is still significant in the strategy in South Boston that's different from us?
That's a $50,000 question. We don't vote and they do.
Well, the other thing is, remember when we had the mayoral race and we had all these black folk who were running? The people didn't sit down together and talk about who's the best candidate. Let's go ahead and support them. This is what they do in South Boston. And look at the results.
They tried to do that and it just didn't work out. Because I don't know if it was ego. I don't know what it was. But, I don't even know if I'm going to be here to see.
Woman, don't you be talking about leaving the town now.
No, but I'm just saying, it just seems like, we were so close to having a black man. So close. And then it just, and I'm realizing that really people going to take care of their own people. That's just how it is. And, they will lie to you, to your face. These politicians, they just lie. That's all you can say. And it's very discouraging when someone that is supposed to be representing you lies to your face about something.
Yeah.
So how can you trust that person anymore? I mean, especially the lie that was told. I don't know.
I have to leave that one alone. 'Cause I can I can leave that one alone. But I'm gonna make one prediction here, and my first prediction.
Okay.
In district number 3, which
Yes.
is Pastor Hobbs's district, out of 13 precincts,
Yeah.
almost close to half of the precincts,
Yeah.
John Fitzgerald has 63% of the vote, and Joel Richards has 36. I'm calling this race for John Fitzgerald.
Yeah, I mean that unfortunately really was the prediction. I mean, long before, quite candidly. I mean, he has one. His father's a politician, right? The name, he's got a lot of support. The literature, the money, the campaign, the machine that was behind him was just a stark contrast from the really kind of grassroots, campaign that Joe Richards was doing. So we knew that was kind of it would. I mean, that he was a David and Goliath kind of a thing, really. So I'm not surprised that that's where we are, or that will be the outcome.
And what are your thoughts regarding? Okay, let's go back to what I just said. Oh no, you can't. I was going to say the numbers of South Boston we said was significant right now with 3,679 people. With Brian Worrell, there's only 4 of 32 precincts that have reported in. And so there's only 636 people that have voted for him thus far. But
he has no competitor, though.
Well, he had no competitor. But I want to see, even though he had no competitor, I want to see that number up as high, if not higher, than Ed Flynn, because I want to know that our people came out. I don't want our people to say, well, he has no opposition, so
right.
come out. No, you still have to come out. We still need to see numbers.
Yeah. No.
So we'll
your vote don't count when you don't cast it. Because even if you go in there and you blank people, or you write somebody else's name in, your vote still counts. You just got to get checked off that you came.
But people don't understand that. In particular, to Pastor's point, if there's not a competitor, they feel like it's not. There's no need to blank this. It's a given. So why even spend that energy? They don't understand that it's still important to show that you're present and that you are, that you're voting. They just don't understand that importance. Evidently.
Yeah. Let me give you an example of this. Years ago, I won't name the mayor because I don't want to have my house attacked. But the mayor came to me and said, if you hold a rally in the Black community, I will reappoint so-and-so to this position. Major position for a Black person in the city. So we had a rally at the Roxbury Boys and Girls Club. We put about 400 people in there. The mayor came, and there were 2 people running for office. One was Black, one was white. So the mayor came and wanted me to put him up to speak, and I didn't. I didn't do it. And when everything was all over, he wasn't upset that I didn't put him up, because he got good press about me not putting him up. He was concerned that, well, 400 and something people, that wasn't significant. You should have had more people. And so he and I went to war. He eventually appointed the person, but numbers speak to elected officials. Numbers are important. We've got to find a way to tell our people whether there are 2 candidates running or only one running. It's like, I moved Karen out of here to go vote. I felt it was important. She had an exhausting day, and I said, I'll drive you there, And when I drove her there, I said to myself, I should be driving other people to the polls. I should be using my gas. Again, with my condition, I really can't do that. But if I was well, I should be picking people up and taking them to the polls.
See, what I wanted to see happen, and it didn't. But there's a lot of churches that have vans, that have transportation.
Yeah.
And I would think, and I mentioned this to Kenneth Mose, I've mentioned this to Will Dickerson, that why couldn't some of these churches who don't, who they probably wouldn't be, their vans wouldn't be going nowhere on Tuesday in the daytime,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
there would be 1 or 2 numbers that people could call and say, this is where I live. This is the time I want to be picked up to go to the polls. And most of those people probably will be elderly people, because all the elderly places don't have, polls inside their buildings. But to me, that's low hanging fruit. You mean to tell me you have all these pastors? A lot of these pastors do have vans and small buses and stuff. I would think that they would want to participate by making sure that their vans were used to take people to the polls.
There is no, I'm making an assumption. I could be wrong, so I'll say that before I make this comment. There is no comprehensive community strategy on getting people to the polls coming out of the churches, coming out of the clergy. To the best of my knowledge, other than what Pastor Hobbs is doing, I did the voter registration with Charlie Stith many, many years ago when Ron Bell was doing it in Mission Hill. We did, but I don't know anybody else who's doing it.
I know, but Pastor, this is what I'm saying. They have these monthly meetings, right? The clergy, Will Dickerson,
Which one?
Kenneth
Which one?
Moores, huh?
Which monthly meeting?
The monthly meeting that Pastor Hobbs used to go to, but he can't no more. Because they changed the date. They went viral, virtual, and now they're trying to come back in person. But I'm telling you, every time I go, there's different people. There's not a consistent group of folks that come there, except for a couple of different church pastors and stuff. But there's not sometimes only be like 10 people there. So then to me, I don't know what the mayor's plan is for the clergy and what are they supposed to do. But they meet, we talk. The last time we had the meeting, they had food. But I'm just like, but what is really going on? Why can't those, because I know they do it in the South. I bet you in the South they have buses and things going to the polls.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the same thing that Donald Trump did when he came out of the court on yesterday. I can't speak to that at all. But it again, it shows the sign. There's the sign, not just the clergy. It's the clergy, the activists. There's so many people doing so many different things, but the collective isn't there. And so
we're all in silos.
Let me go back to, we got a few more minutes here. So let's go back to district number 7. So there are 10 precincts out of 30. And so there's 33%. Tanya Fernandez Anderson has 70% of the vote. That's 1,207. I'd like to see that go up to 4,000. That would be significant if 4,000 people in District 7 came out. And but here's the other thing: if Tanya wins this election over Althea Garrison, you know how important it is that she seizes the moment as soon as she wins this, and she begins to say, I've got to mobilize District 7 to do even better in 2 years. 2 years is going to come around just like that.
Yep.
And if she just wins the election, if these candidates just win the election and they stop until maybe 6 months prior to the next time they run, it shows that they're not really doing this for the people. It shows that they're doing it for themselves. And maybe that's something, Minister Priscilla, that needs to be discussed without any fear of challenging these elected officials, the ones that we think are really sincere, to do better. Althea Garrison has 471 votes. and Tanya has 1,207, but we're only halfway there with them. It looks like Tanya could take this. What do you both
I
think?
believe she's gonna take it.
You think she will?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were surmising that Althea Garrett, don't go to sleep on Althea Garrison. A lot of people saying she could shock, she could shake up the world and win. Yeah. So again,
Listen, you know what? I don't put nothing past nobody because you never know.
right.
It ain't over till the fat lady sing. And
why,
so
why were you looking at me when you said that? I lost weight.
I'm looking at you and Pastor. You ain't even fat no more. I heard you done lost some weight.
Yeah. Well, don't want it to come back. District number 8, and I'm district number
You must
8.
be. I guess my thing isn't updating. I guess I have to go out and come back in because I got the same numbers I started off with.
Refresh it.
Yeah.
Refresh it. District number 8 is Back Bay and Fenway.
Yeah, that's that.
Right. That Kenzie Box was in that position, and she's at the Boston Housing Authority. She was appointed. So you have Montez Haywood and Sharon Durkin. I don't know.
Sharon Durkin is already in the seat.
Right. So do you know either of these individuals?
Nope, don't know.
Okay. Well, that's Fenway, and Liz Brendan and Jacob, who are running neck to neck here. Let's see where they're at on district number 9. District 9, 10 out of 27 precincts. Liz is 66% of the votes she has, and Jacob has 32% of the vote. So the incumbent is doing very well here. Pastor Hobbs, could you sometimes we can actually go to the Boston Globe or the Boston Herald, and they have this information, but they're even more up to date somehow.
Oh, really?
Could you check to see if they have that up? The last time Jamal was with us, he was pulling his numbers from the
Herald?
media. The Herald or the Globe. Yeah, they don't make you have to have a password to get in. I'm going to refresh my page and go back to the at-large race and see what it looks like. So with 113 of 275 precincts, Erin Murphy is still leading. Ruth Z is number 2. Julia Now is number 3. And Bridget M. Nee Walsh is number 4. That might be a trend, folk. That might 41% of the vote is in. There might be a trend here. I wouldn't doubt that Erin Murphy could come out on top, because Priscilla, have you seen her literature? When she sends out a newsletter, Erin Murphy? I don't know how she does it, but usually people send out a newsletter. Her newsletter is every single district in the city in color. Someone's giving her a lot of financial resources. Ruth Z, I thought, also had a potential to become the number 1 vote getter in the at-large. People were hoping that Julia was going to be the number 1 vote getter. She has 12,000 votes. Julia does. Ruthie has 13,000. Erin has 15, and Bridget has 10,000. Clifton has 3,435, and Catherine Vital has 3,000. So they're trailing. I don't know if they can make up for that. Any thoughts on the at-large race at all? Is this what you would have predicted was going to happen?
I thought Santana would have placed in 4th. I don't know anything about Bridget. I tried to get her on my show. I couldn't even get her on my show.
She didn't respond or answer.
Mm-mm.
So why do you think Mr. Santana has 14%, 14.24% of the vote, 10,000? Why did you think he would do so well?
Because of who all who all endorsed him, who all was running with him, who all was working with him.
Oh,
Particularly the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
well, the mayor probably doesn't Ruth Z work with the mayor? She's not contentious, is she?
No,
No, simply got a good
no.
relationship.
Yeah, she got a good relation. Well, they're from the Warren crew. They both were Elizabeth Warren mentees or students or something. I think when Elizabeth Warren ran for, it must have been her second term.
Okay.
Ruth Z was her counsel because Ruth Z's a lawyer. So
Okay. Are you surprised that Julia is polling now at number 3?
no, I said if people don't vote Julia back in, something's wrong with her. That's all I can say because Julia has, since day one when she took office, Julia has been there for our community. Remember when she first got into office, COVID hit,
Right.
and so she's had to deal with a lot of stuff. And the bottom line is that people, because she is the way she is, because she speaks out, I mean, she's passed 15 pieces of legislation in 3 years, 3.5 years.
Right.
And Pastor Groover said this Sunday. He said she always claims her Afro Latino. She lets people know that she is a Black woman from the DI.
I want you two to keep talking. I got to make.
Yep.
You went on mute. Okay, so anyway, Pastor, let's finish because he's on mute.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like Julia has proved her that she is for our community. She helps a lot of different organizations. She's always, at different events and stuff like in the community, and so I feel like she's she's doing the best that she can, and she's done a lot.
Well, it's again the fact that this Bridget Need person. First of all, I believe she's a European person, and I see her signs big over by the bus and the union. So it's those folks, and again, these are people who show up at the polls.
Exactly.
But I'm saying, so regardless of what she may be doing for the Black community and then showing up, if the Black community doesn't come out and vote, then that's the reason why it doesn't, this Bridget woman at large could do better because you got a strong people who continue to show up and vote. That's difference.
What it is, Pastor. That's exactly what it is.
I mean,
but we tend to think that our vote don't count. We tend to think the reason why it don't count because we don't cast it. Imagine if I would just love to see our community out voting.
I would too.
Kids coming to I always, when I do vote at the polls, I always go first thing in the morning because I know I'm going to be out doing something during the day.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
Eric Kennedy. I'm sorry, Pastor. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
You sure?
Yes, please.
Are you deferring because I'm older than you? Is that it?
Exactly.
Yes.
Are you gonna call me Larry?
No.
Oh, okay. So Eric is on Facebook. He said, "Good evening, family." Then he said, "Too long." I don't know what that means. Too long.
I don't know what that means either. I saw that.
Okay. And then
And
he
talking too long.
Well, no, I'm not making that inference. He just said too long. He may have been talking about you, Priscilla. But anyway, he said, count me out for that one. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I think I do now. He said, count me out for that one. He said, I got the uppercut. I don't know what that means. I got the uppercut. Then he says, who's going to pay the drivers and the gas? So it sounds like he was
Well,
talking.
I think the uppercut was when you said that you the uppercut and low. When you guys were talking about holding me accountable, I guess I'm making sure that I won't go off task in terms of advocating for the returning citizens. I think he was saying that he's going to add to make sure that between the three of y'all, that I stay on task in terms of being true
Okay.
to advocate for this population. And so I think that's where that was coming from. And the gas and the money, I think he's talking about the vans and the notion of, people, churches, and these vans sitting there dormant. He's saying, who's going to pay for the gas? I'm assuming that's
Right.
what he's saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Good. I wasn't monitoring the
chat.
Yeah, I wasn't.
But you know what? But here's something that I thought. We were talking about people of color, and and we just, when you were stepped away for a second, we were talking about how Bridget Nee, she's really connected to the unions, right? And the
Yeah, but she's an iron worker.
Iron worker, right?
Yeah.
These are people who vote, and so to your point about Julia being the #1 vote getter before, the truth of the matter, again, if we don't show up, and this is what, again, the prediction was coming from the Secretary of State, that because it's not a mayoral race, people are not, that the turnout tends to be low, and that's unfortunately what happens.
But it's been going on for a long time. When is it going to stop?
Well, that's a really good question. But even, the Banner had a whole article and was talking about potentially Brockton having an opportunity to have its first Black mayor. I don't know where that stands. Do you guys know? Because this was a public. This came out when this is the Banner, and says November 1st. So that's, and it says today's election raises the prospects in Boston and Brockton. Candidates of color in both cities could shift racial power balance in government.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Go ahead, Priscilla.
well, in Brockton, I know Brockton was the first city that I heard of, an 18-year-old running and becoming the city councilor. And that was a few years ago. And that's what got me thinking, well, if he was a white kid, but if they can start that young, which is when they should start running for office, why couldn't we have 18-year or 19-year-olds running for office here in Boston? Because some of our young folks are smart. I mean, I know Brockton and Boston are two kind of like different, because Brockton, I believe, is a lot smaller than Boston. But Mass Vote and Mass Voter Tables are trying to do something. It's called Democracy Hubs. And they're trying to put like 5 and 6 different cities together to work together, or because they're doing statewide work as well. So they're like Brockton, maybe Stoughton, Randolph, Milton, Boston, something like that. But they are definitely trying to come up with a way. They want to go statewide and for the resources, and maybe because next year's a state election. I mean, every year we have an election, and every 2 years candidates got to run. And so to me, I mean, I feel like so 1 year you're working, the next year you're running. And so if there was, I think one time they were talking about up in the time, I mean, like up to like 3 years or 4 years or something. But every 2 years, to me, it just seems like it's a lot. I mean, even on Congress, every 2 years people are running. So you always have to consistently be raising money all the time. Once you get in office, in order to stay in office, you got to spend money, make money. But one thing, and let me see if you all can hear this, okay? I want you all to listen to Julia's my interview. And I'm not the best with anything, so just pray that. Hold Hopefully it works. Okay.
I'm still sitting city council at large. Still sitting. Yes. That's right. That's right. Yes, yes. And so we're gonna go on the air at 9 o'clock, Washington Praise Radio. Okay. And I'm so glad. I think I got did I get the first interview? Yeah. Did I get the first interview? How you feeling? You feeling good? I'm feeling good, Julia. I'm feeling good.
You know, the fact that we have the least resources, no political endorsements, and we ran a campaign on the will of the people. Like you always say, the people have the power.
We are the people.
We have the power. And let me just tell you something, if we are able to keep this seat without no establishment support or no financial dollars, but just the power of the people, and still win a campaign with heart and hustle and the love of the people, we have made history.
That's right. That's right.
That to me is winning.
Yes.
The fact that we demonstrated
Yes.
that people like me want to see more people like me
Right.
in this office.
That's right. Well, this is my interview with Julia Medina. I am so happy. I have to go, but I will be back because I want to celebrate with you tonight. Because I know it's been rough.
You know what? It's been wrong, but you know what? You always say that you're my soul sister.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We have been at this.
Yeah.
Before we were at this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you stood by me in 2019.
Yeah.
And we have been building together.
Yeah.
We have done so many amazing things together.
Yeah.
I'm just so looking forward to what is to come.
Yeah.
Whether I'm in this seat or not,
Yeah.
we have
But we
so
gonna
much
get
work.
the work done. We do the work.
This is a registration.
Yeah.
3.5 years. And I didn't even know my job. Imagine what I can do.
You didn't know your job.
Come on, man.
All right, all right. I'm gonna cut off, but I want to get a picture with you. Love you.
Love you.
Well, let me tell you that Julia is number 3rd on the at-large. And so let me give you the percentage to show you some of this. So Aaron Murphy's 21%, Ruth Z is 18%, and Julia is 16%. That to me is very close because you only have 147 precincts of 275. This can change. Now, Boston City Council had 2 candidates declare that they're winners. Pepin declared that he won the race, and Fitzgerald declared that he won the race. I think Fitzgerald declared because he heard me say, right? Why are you laughing? What was funny? Didn't I predict Fitzgerald?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did
So
predict him.
So he said, oh man, if Reverend Wall got up out of the sick bed and is gonna declare me, I gotta declare myself. There's another historic win in Rhode Island. Win, Gay B. Amo became Rhode Island's first Black congressman.
All right.
And Jay, I can't pronounce his last name, campaigned against the status quo. He was elected mayor of Manchester, and if my eyes don't deceive me, he Black.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Where's
All
it?
right.
Manchester?
In Manchester, Mass. Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that
Mm.
something?
It is.
I like you all know my theme song, Change Gonna Come. And it's every day change happens, right? But we know that we have been oppressed, depressed, and suppressed for so long. We know that our brothers need to be coming out of prison. We know that the injustices that have been done to us continues to happen to us. But we also know a God that sits high and looks low, and we trust and believe in him. And so what we have to do is just keep doing what we've been doing. Because because they can't keep winning forever. There gotta be a time. I just wish our people would wake up. That's, it's just so, the people, I don't want nobody to come to me and complain about anything if you're not voting, because it just, we're in a place now where we know how to advocate for ourselves. We know how to write legislation. We know how to do all this stuff because we've been doing it. So
Right.
why no one trusts us to do it?
Well, let me give you this other declaring that they won. Benjamin Weber declared that he won.
Who was he running against?
Let's see. I'm scrolling.
And then what make it so bad? Half of these people you ain't never seen before in your life, and they all of a sudden they jumping up and running for office.
Benjamin Weber, District number 6.
Oh, so he won against William King.
Well, he's declaring, but only 25% of the vote has come in.
So he shouldn't be declaring anything.
No, he shouldn't, because he has 53% of the vote. William King has 46%, and only 9 precincts of 36 have declared, have 9% of the votes from the precinct out of 36 have come in. I don't think you should be declaring right now.
No, not with just 25% of the voting.
Let me
Did
just.
you say
And you
he's
see-
gonna win too, Pastor? Did you declare him as a winner too? Is that why he declared?
No, I didn't declare. Pastor Hobbs, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, and Henry Santana has jumped up. We were saying before that Bridget Niesel with 14.51%. He's now 14,303 compared to 13,763 Bridget Nee.
Let me get back.
I gotta refresh my computer.
And I actually have some breaking news, you guys, right now. Can you hear me, Chick?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is breaking news from Katrina Everett.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, tell them.
Oh, I just won my city council race for Ward 2 here in Haverhill, Massachusetts.
She
And
said
that's the
Haverhill, right?
yes,
Haverhill,
Well, that's
yeah.
where you from, Pastor.
that is. Well, my sister still lives there, and so she and I believe you. Is you the first person of color to win that position, Chick?
I am the first female of color to ever be elected to the Haverhill City Council.
Ever be elected to the Haverhill City Council? Katrina, my baby sister. That's
Oh.
Dennis' wife.
Wow, that's breaking news.
Breaking news on
Yes.
Boston Black News right here. You heard it live. Congratulations, Katrina.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited. It is a historic night in Haverhill. Not only was I elected as the first woman of color to the Haverhill City Council, but Melinda Barrett was elected as the first female mayor. And also Yanni Collins and Erica Diaz were elected to the school committee as the first woman of color were elected to the Haverhill School Committee. So it is an historic win for women in our city tonight.
Awesome. That's so
Yeah.
good news.
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Hobbs, your
Wonderful.
stature goes up because now you have connection in Haverhill.
Exactly, Pastor. Exactly.
That's good. Congratulations.
Yes, we're happy for you.
That's good.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for
Wow.
sharing that breaking news with us.
Yes, you heard it first. Oh
Okay.
yeah, knee done dropped. Santana's on top now. Number 4.
Yes. Yes, and I'm not surprised
That's
again
what I'm
because
saying.
again,
You can't be like 25% don't mean nothing.
no. But again, the mayor has, and again, it's going to be interesting to see because that was her civic engagement person, and she was heavily campaigning for
Yes,
him.
she was. Yes, she was.
So we'll see.
Cliff done passed Catherine.
Who?
Cliff Braywood. He's got more votes than Catherine Vitale. Well,
Well, I was looking at Gabriella Gigi Coletta, She
Mhm.
didn't have any opposition. 18 precincts out of 29, which is 62%. She has 2,795 votes. And again, that's what I'm talking about. In our community, we can't be saying, oh, gee, I was the only one running and I got 500 votes, so I won. No, you've got to come up with 3,000 or 4,000 votes to show that you've done your job in mobilizing the people in your district to come out and vote. And next year, I want to see that number up. And the next year, I want to see that number up. Because if you don't, if that number stays stagnant, you're not doing your job. You guys agree?
Yes.
Look at Ed Flynn, 5,725 votes. That's what I'm talking. That's leadership, in my opinion. That's leadership. And that's 24 of 31 precincts. So he's probably gonna hit maybe 7,000 votes. And again, I think the numbers are down. They should be higher than that. Should be greater than that. But that's better than in our neighborhoods where it's 1,000. I won by 1,000. Oh, that's significant.
Whoopie-doo. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
bad.
whoopie-doo.
And it seems like it's getting worse. And I don't know what to do, it's just dismal.
Brian Worwell, 16 precincts out of 32. And the reason why we need to keep doing this, I'm sorry we had a technical glitch at the beginning, but I'm glad that God raised up a gifted Black man who was able to fix it. But that's why we got to keep doing this, because our people have got to hear this and see this. People are going to be watching this on Facebook and Twitter and the other outlets, and they're not even going to know who we are, but they're going to know that we were talking about politics, right? That's important. That's really important. So Brian Worrell, with only 50% of the vote has come in. He's got 2,006, 97.66% of the vote. I want him to be up in the 5,000s in the Black community. He's got those numbers have got to be more significant. They can't not be 1,000 or 2,000 for a district. You agree, Priscilla, who's in office? Pastor Huff, you agree who's going to run for office? Now that your family member has run you want to be the first from your family in Boston.
No, sir.
So I don't understand Enrique Ruiz saying that he won. Only 6% of 30 precincts, 20% came in, and he's saying that he won.
Wow.
I don't know. It's
you don't understand how it works.
Here's the other thing I want to say, and I'm not, Priscilla, I am not. Then I read Kennedy's comments. I don't want to push you into anything. I'm saying this for a reason. Do not think that I'm sending you a subliminal message at all, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it's people like you or Jamal or Clifton, let's say, who run for office and don't win and may never want to do it again. I'm not telling you to do it again, but I'm saying I hear the stories in the history of people who have lost 1, 2, or 3, but they came in on the 4th one. They kept mobilizing, they kept strategizing. And so some of the good people that should be running can't give up and leave it to the people that are not really as committed. I am not telling you to run. I'm not trying to plant anything in your head. But some good people should be giving it another try. And I don't want Jamal to tell me that he did a write-in campaign. That's hard. That's at the last minute, that's a hard one to win.
I think if Jamal had went and got his name on the ballot and stuff, I think he would have won.
Could have done it. I think he could have done it.
Because I was at that debate and he tore Tito up. So, but the thing about sticker campaigns, they're not the best. Especially because you couldn't, Jamal don't spell his name like the regular Jamal, So, and they say that with them, it was just a mess. The only person that I know has run a successful sticker campaign was Diane Wilkerson. She's the only person in the state of Massachusetts that I know done that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's.
Javon Skis, I felt bad for him. He, I didn't realize he was a very good friend of Steve Odom.
Okay.
And so he was there like when Steve died, so he went through that mourning and grieving and stuff.
Right.
And he wound up being Andrea Campbell's, I think, constituent service person. But I mean, he didn't even get on the ballot.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. So people think, oh, I can get these signatures. 1,500 signatures is hard to get.
That's a lot.
Is, some of these districts is like 150, 200. I think 200 is the most that you need. And the state reps, they're like 100, 200. So you don't really need a lot of signatures to get on the ballot. And from the way that our numbers are, you could have 2,000 people vote for a candidate that has 70,000 people that are their constituents.
Well, I don't want you to spend the rest of the evening talking yourself into running for office.
Don't worry about that.
I mean, you heard about what happened in Haverhill. You're getting all worked up. I said nothing. You're getting all worked up. Next thing
I need to train some people how to run for office. I'm old past, almost as old as you.
Well, I don't want to get a phone call. I don't want to receive a phone call from you tomorrow morning at 9. Pastor, I was sleeping and Jesus came to me while I was sleeping and told me to run. Eric Kennedy said, Eric Kennedy, correct. Too long was in reference of a theater and how long she has been running.
Oh, Althea.
He must be drinking or something. And then he said, then he corrected himself. He said Althea. He heard you, Priscilla. And then he said, there are few cities. This has 17-year-olds running for city council seats, including one in New York. Eric Kennedy, he keeps making corrections. Eric, dictate, don't type. And then Robert Bannister Jr. is watching us. I don't know where Robert, where are you located? What city, what town are you located in? Okay, let's see if we can call some of these candidates because we're coming close to the bewitching hour, and I get to stay home. I'm sick. Don't call me Priscilla.
I'm not gonna call you today, Pastor. Today was the first day that I talked to you on the phone since you've been out sick.
Did I call you today? Did I?
Yes, you did. I was very surprised.
I had to check in on you.
We were texting. We've been texting, but I haven't had a chance to talk to you. And I missed you Sunday. And the only reason why I was not in church because I went to church with Julia, and I had promised her I would go with her.
Well, that's good. It's nice to get out and go check out another place and be inspired by another pastor and come back with some good ideas that we can use in our church. So right now, Erin Murphy is still out of
the ticket, huh?
147 precincts. Looks like she's going to make it in. Looks like Ruth Z is going to make it in. Looks like Julia is going to make it in because there's 16%, 18%, and 21%. It's who's going to be the fourth one. That's the one that's.
How much percentage do they have now?
60.36%, right? It says of the precincts are reported 166 of 275. And Henry Santana is 17,517, 15.7%, in contrast to Bridget Nee Walsh, 15,279, 13.14%.
Yeah. It doesn't look good for Clifton or Sean or Catherine. Something major would have to. You could sort of get a trending.
Yeah.
that if they were going up and then going down, going up, going down, but
Yeah.
they're not Catherine, Clifton, and Sean are not trending at all. They're staying flat.
Yeah.
So they'll Catherine has 4% of the vote. Clifton has 4.73% of the vote, and Sean has 15.13% of the vote. You got to get up there to around 21, 18, 16% of the vote. So I believe that Aaron, Ruzi, and Julia will definitely be back in. I can't tell you the order though, because this whole thing could change. Let's look at it, calling predictions. So Gabriella's in, Ed Flynn's in, John Fitzgerald, he's in. There's no question there.
Mm-hmm.
Brian's in. But the one in,
Tanya's in.
well, the one in District 5 with Jose Ruiz and Enrique Pepin, I think it was who said Ruiz? Let me go back and see if he's the one that said that he won. It was in the Globe. Anybody have the Globe open? No?
No.
Okay, I'll find it. Okay, it was Pepin, Weber and Pepin. Wait a minute, how come
District 6, right? No, that's
okay, so Pepin said he won. Listen to this, guys. Help me with this. Six of 30 precincts, 6 of 30 precincts have come in. Ruiz has 1,164 votes. Pepin, who said that he won, has 742 votes. How can he declare?
Well, I don't. Okay. Let me refresh this because mine says 8 out of 30 precincts, 26.57%. This is District 5. You're talking about, right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Jose Ruiz 1,503 votes, 56.29%, and Ricky Pepin 1,157, 43.33%. Yeah. So still to your point, but yeah, Ruiz is higher than Pepin at this point. So
Ruiz was a police officer too. He's a retired police officer.
Now,
Pepin is the gentleman.
well, here's the other thing. Sometimes people have their staff at City Hall, the election department. So they're getting the information also quicker than sometimes they say, and that they're able to add it on. So maybe they know something that we don't know. And maybe they told him. Because that's too close for him to be declaring the winner. So that one's still, a 5 is up in the air. I should have ran. That's my district. District Priscilla, did I hear you make a comment?
I said I know you should have ran.
Oh no, you didn't. She said, Okay, so district number 6, Benjamin, Mr. Weber said that he won in the Boston Globe. He has 62% of the votes. William King has 39%. I will call it for Weber. I think we ought to call it and go on record. District 7, we know. I think Tanya is going to win this. There's 23%, 23 precincts out of 30, 76% came in. Tanya Anderson is 71% of the vote, and Althea is 27. So the incumbent was able to pull this off. I didn't think I thought that Althea was going to give her a real run for her money because of all the things that have been going on, you know. But I don't think she did. Sharon Durkin and Montez Hayden. Oh, Durkin's got this 70% of the vote, and Haywood has 28% of the vote. So that one's done. Sharon's already in office, right? She won through the special election.
She got that special election seat.
Okay. And then Liz Brendan, she's going to take that at 62%. 66%. 21 of 27 precincts have reported in. So the only thing that's up in the air that we don't have to worry about is my District 5, which is really close. And what else?
At large.
Oh, the at large. That's gonna be the one. Yeah. Well, my suggestion is 10:56. Ain't no one getting paid here.
I know that's right.
Um,
Only for you, Pastor. I'm getting ready to go back to Julia's party.
you can't go back there by yourself
Why not?
because people are drinking and dancing and walking off with people. You can't go in that environment.
Please. I'm grown. Overgrown.
She said she's grown. I was just going to see if the Boston Herald has anything. Pepper Weber declared victory for the Boston City Council in a win for Wu.
I'm so sick.
For Marty Walsh.
So sick of you.
And because the ones that Walsh endorses doesn't usually win, right?
Well, when he was mayor, they didn't. Now maybe because he's not the mayor no more, maybe. I don't know. Politics.
Well, I'm just saying if there's anything else. In the Herald, it's Pepin and Weber declared victory. And Mayor Wu's there celebrating with them. Well, she needs to help on the council, so
She needs help in her cabinet too.
uh-oh.
I'm just saying.
Wow. Okay. So 183 of 275
That's still a lot of precincts to go.
on the at large. I'm looking at the at large. The other ones are really
That's still a lot of there's still a lot of precincts that haven't been counted. 183 out of 275.
Yeah, 66.55%. I mean, that even with that said, the percentage of it being 20.45 for Aaron and 19.42 for Rusi and 17.37. And even the votes, the numbers are 23,767 and 22,578 for Rusi, 20,000 for Julia, 196. Henry Santana, 17,514. In contrast to Nee, 15,279. And interesting, Sean got 5,825. So and Clifton did 6,200. So that was significant. I mean, both.
Clifton got over 6,200 votes.
Yeah, so why isn't he
with no money? I mean, no money.
Wait a minute, Sean Nelson got 5,825 votes. Clifton got 6,200. Why is he under Sean? Why is he?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I know, because they see this is what they do. The numbers.
I don't understand that.
That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make
refreshing it to see. No, doesn't do it. That's strange, huh?
I don't get that at all.
I don't understand either.
And then there's 909 write-ins, and then that Catherine Vitale, 4,712. But yeah, that's weird. That number that doesn't reconcile at all.
That doesn't make sense. Clifford should be on top.
Right. I think that Aaron Murphy and Rootsy, technically, they're neck to neck. That 19%, 20% neck to neck. Yeah. If Rootsy makes it on top, I think it's going to be Aaron, Rootsy, and Julia, and I think Julia's thought is going to be, I still have a job. I'm here. I can still do my job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what she came in before? The last time she ran?
The last time she ran, she came in second under Mike Flaherty.
Under Mike Flaherty, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ruthie is really getting herself positioned
Yep.
to provide some. She and Erin Murphy are going to be the strongest two on the council. Julia will also be strong. I got to figure out why Julia wasn't number 2.
And isn't there saying, you know, they were saying, and this is interesting because they were
Because they
article,
want to get rid of Julia. Go ahead, Pastor.
there was an article saying how the clout of Mayor Wu with her endorsements, but you know, and how this will affect, you know, ultimately the president of the city council, whom obviously we know could potentially be.
Be the
That's
mayor.
correct.
Yeah.
So say that again.
So I was told that Rootsy has the votes to become the president,
Okay.
but they don't know. But they say she does have the votes. So, but that's all I can say at this point. But I just, well, I don't know.
Are you surprised or disappointed with the at-large outcome?
No, as long as Jury's in top 4, that's all I really care about.
Right.
Because I mean, Erin Murphy and Roots, they're gonna do what they do, you know. And I don't even think, to be honest with you, I don't think Erin is really under Michelle's spell as Rootsy is. But Erin Murphy is born and raised in South Boston, Dorchester, so she's of them folks, you know. I think the Murphy School was named after her grandfather or something. So she was a school teacher, and
It's the team that she has. Her team, they are good writers. They are all over the place. They're going everywhere. They're pulling from. I don't know how they're able to do it, but it's their team. I don't know anybody in Julia's team at all, and I don't know
everybody
anybody.
there is new. Well, new, not new, but yeah, new.
Well, there are 92 more precincts to go. The Boston City Council. I don't think that we have to be here for that.
It's 207 now of 275. I just refreshed it. 207 precincts have reported out of 275. Now 75.27%. Erin's now at 30,806, 20.20%. Rusi Lejeune is 30,166, 19.78. Julia's 26,959, 17.67%. Henry Santana, 227, 15.23%. And again, Bridges down to 19,483, 12.77%.
Okay, so can you,
So
Priscilla?
this Sean Nelson, he jumped up to 7504.
Yeah, he sure did.
I don't
What
know.
do you mean he jumped up? What do you mean?
He jumped up. Sean Nelson's now 7,504 and Clifton is 7,198.
So, Priscilla, can you text Julia and ask her how she feels this is going?
Let me see if she'll answer my text.
Yeah, only what 27. So yeah. I'm curious to see some of the other folks.
I've got. I don't want to mention names on the air, but I have one of the city councilors team is texting me tonight.
Huh.
I'm sorry.
They're texting you, giving some.
Basically, they're just hoping for the best, how things look. See, I want to be associated with people who have some integrity.
Yes.
I want to be associated with somebody who knows how to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be associated with an elected official who wants to go places to do things for the people that I care about.
Amen.
Right. And so I'd like to have that. I think that we need to have that discussion with the 3 or 4 top vote getters, like a meeting
Mm-hmm.
to talk about what our concerns are and ask if we could develop a partnership with them to see this achieved. Because I
I love
think
this idea.
Priscilla had a good working relationship with Julia Mejia. There's some
Yes.
trust there. I think that's important.
Yes.
And I'm trying to develop. I think I know Julia. We're not working on anything together,
Mm-hmm.
but I know her and I know what she can do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a working relationship with Ruthie at all,
I do.
but I know who she is, and she knows who I am. So well, I could talk to you offline about what that entails. I have an entree with Erin Murphy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to. I think that we need to have a viable working relationship with Erin, Lucy, and Julia. We need to be.
I totally agree, and I would submit quite candidly, whomever the other person is, if it is Santana, because the truth of the matter is that they're all going to be at large city councilors, and Bruce Lejeune was instrumental in being able to get the $2.6 million budget for the Office of Returning Citizens and the 1,000 specifically. So we've been working really intimately with regard to, and she has unapologetically said that she would support the mobile ballot box initiative, which is the next step of building the infrastructure for those who are incarcerated. So I think, and with Santana being the person who has been the civic person for the mayor, if he should be the next at-large city councilor and a person of color, a Black man of color, right, should clearly be supportive of that particular stuff that we're talking about, Black folks issues, right? Because they're all people of color with the exception of Erin, right? And she has, like you said, you have entree with her. So I think it's imperative, regardless, that we have a relationship with the 4 at-large counselors to be able to address the concerns of the underserved and emerging populations that we care about.
Well, let's put it this way. The 3 of us have a relationship with the 3 top vote getters who are at-large candidates. All 3 of us have relationships with them.
That's true.
So we need to find a way to capitalize on that relationship with a collective vision, not a separate vision, but it's collective. It's what we're saying we want the city to see. We need to start it with these 3 and say, this is where we want to go. Can you climb on board with us? And we'll climb on board with you.
I love it.
So, Priscilla, we keeping you up? She said yes.
She's not answering me, so she must be talking, partying, or crying.
Right. Okay. You said crying? No, there's no need for her to cry. I think she's good.
Could be tears of joy.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think she's gonna be okay. I think she's
gonna be okay too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do one more refresh. It's still the same. 207 of 275.
Yeah.
It probably is gonna stay right there.
You think?
Yeah, there's gonna be another way to get on.
75% of the votes are in.
How much?
75.27%.
Yes. I'm gonna go to some of the television channels to see if anybody
Anything?
has said anything, yeah.
Hmm?
Because that's a big bicyclist suffers life-threatening injury in crash near Cambridge Hospital. Let me get past that one real quick.
Oh,
I
So
don't wanna-
I'm signing off.
I don't want to read about a bicyclist. I'm just looking at channel 4 to see if there's anything, but no, there's nothing. Nothing on 4. And I'll try
5.
5 and see there's nothing on 5. South Shore pediatrician. No, he did a bad thing. We won't read what he did. So turning company over. No, there's nothing on 4 or 5. What's the last one? 7?
Seven.
Channel 7?
Mm.
Channel
Oops.
7 news.
oh.
I'm surprised that this. Wow.
That's all important. You are important to me.
Vice President Kamala Harris is going to visit Boston on Thursday.
I
She
heard
is. What?
What is that about?
where at.
Did you know, Priscilla, that she was
I'm
coming?
sorry, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I don't know where it's at. I'll find out.
I pray for him. The man accused of shooting the bride bishop during the wedding in Pelham, New Hampshire, found guilty on most counts. That's not
Oh,
the.
yes, that's my friend. That's Bishop Schultz. That's the guy who shot Bishop Schultz out of New
Oh,
Hampshire.
really?
Yeah.
They got him?
Yeah, well, I mean, he represented himself, and he was, I mean, he was just saying that, he just say he killed, that he was doing God's work. I mean, yeah. So I'm not. I mean, it's just crazy. He said he's not a murderer because he didn't kill him. I mean, again, he's deaf, and then he was going to plead insanity. So yeah, I'm glad that.
Yeah, these people are, some of them are insane, unfortunately, because they just, it's stuff they do.
Well, I think that we ought to pack it in. 230 of 275 has come in. Aaron Murphy is still top at 20%. Ruth C is 19%. Julia is 17. Henry Santana is 15.
Mm-hmm.
Is Henry Santana gaining? Well, it doesn't matter because even if he were to gain on Julia, Julia would still be one of the 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's just further solidifying his seat above Bridget.
So
Mm-hmm.
do you folk feel safe with letting our audience know that we're going to bed, or do you not want to wake up to see a surprise?
I don't think there's gonna be. I mean, but I'm comfortable with it. I mean, but in terms of the at-large folks,
Yeah, I think it's important to. Well, I mean, I'm going to stay up myself and watch this to the end. Then I want to send a text to the people. I'm going to send a text to the people that I know who have won, just to congratulate them. Brian Worrell, 3,699. I'd be happy if that was up to 4,000. Enrica Pepin and Jose Ruiz.
mhm.
Who said that they won? Was it Ruiz? Oh, Pepin, right? Wasn't it Pepin who said he
Yeah,
won?
Pepin.
Okay, Pepin is 53% of the vote, and Ruiz is 46. I had, which one was the mayor's? I wrote it down.
Stephen was the mayor.
Who, Pepin is the mayor?
Mhm.
Wow. That's gonna really,
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
gonna really have her thinking that she's gonna be a kingmaker.
Mhm.
And Weber, I think Weber's gonna win this. So it's really the and Tanya, we said we declared Tanya
Yes.
the winner. We did that.
Yes.
And that's it. It's the only thing really left is the at large. I'm gonna scroll it one more time. I'm gonna beat you guys. And
And
and the answer uh is this Erin Murphy's second election?
Yeah.
So she comes in number one.
Mhm.
And what about Ruth Z? Is this her second or third?
Yeah, this is her second too.
And what about Julia?
Julia's going to a third.
This is Julia's third. Okay.
Mhm.
So if I was a campaign worker, if I was a strategist, if for Julia, I'd want to know why she's not number one or number two. We would do a study on that.
Because she didn't have a lot of money. That was really what Julia didn't have a lot of money at all compared to what Erin Murphy and what Rootsy had. They had Rootsy last time I checked, she had like 190,000.
Okay.
Erin Murphy had like 150,000,
Okay.
so they had a lot of money. I got like 3 or 4 mailings from Rootsy. I got a couple from Erin. Julia didn't send out any mailings because she didn't have the money.
Oh,
Okay, so that theme about you got to send out 3 mailings,
yeah.
that she didn't have any mailings. But see, like I said, Julia work speaks for herself. People know Julia.
Yeah. Because yesterday we had more Pepin and the other guy, they had some money because they were sending out a lot of literature,
Mhm.
a tremendous amount of literature.
but again,
But
you had the machine, you had Woo, right?
yeah,
Behind it. And so
yeah.
that yes, and so that's a big factor. When you got
Yeah,
the machine and money.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I want to say to our listening audience, because I don't want to burn you guys out, because the next time I ask you to do something like this, I don't want you to say you don't know when to stop. So I want to thank Pastor Franklin Hobbs, Minister Priscilla Flint. I really always think it through. I want to thank you for making the sacrifice to hang out with me with your pajamas on. Minister Priscilla, Pastor Hobbs, and I refusing to grant you permission to leave the house.
Well,
Look at her! Look at her! Look at her! Eyes are bright. She got a potty spirit going on in there.
I just
Good
want to go
for
hang
her.
out for a minute.
I'm
See, she
exhausted.
gonna go jump in her car.
Yeah,
Um,
Pastor can walk up there.
I'm not. I'm going to my bed. I got to get up early in the morning. I'm tired. Kidding me? I did this for pastor. You
I
go
know,
ahead.
right? I
No.
know.
all right, I again sincerely thank both of you for being with us, and I'm glad you two were praying feverishly. That's why you weren't talking while I was trying to fix it. So thank you for your prayers and the swears when you got mad at me that the thing wasn't working. And I will be in touch. I will be in touch with you. I will be watching People Power with Priscilla on Thursday, as I have been since August. I don't think
Okay.
I don't think I've only missed one. Only missed one. But other than that, I've been on top of your programming. So
And
I
how
know
about? I was saying, and how about tomorrow with
Pastor Walker.
travels?
I watch it just because of you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I want to know if you're gonna get pulled in.
Pastor Walker.
Yeah. Pastor Walker says to me when I used to engineer, do you have anything to say? No, I don't. And Pastor Hobbs was doing so well until he hit a topic that Pastor Hobbs really wanted to talk about, because I heard it, and Pastor Hobbs took over the broadcast. But it was something he was interested in. So,
Mhm.
all right, good night, you all. If there's
Good
any,
night, Pastor.
if there's
I'll
any
talk to you
change in
tomorrow.
any of this, I will send you a text.
Okay.
Give Julia a hug for me,
Okay.
and you can only consume Pepsi, ginger ale.
And
That's it.
water.
And what?
Water.
Oh, and water. Okay. Good night. Let me
Good
sign this off.
night. Good night, Pastor Hobbs.
Good night, Minister Fun. Please tell Julie I said congratulations as well.
I will. All right. Night night.
Oh, she's gone. I was gonna say, hug Julia for Pastor Hobbs too, so I'm not the only one hugging her. Goodbye.